Hey there guys, I'm Renee. I am the owner and artist behind Chicly Reclaimed Decor, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I created these shabby chic French Baroque-inspired ornaments just in time for the holiday season. I'm going to be using a variety of molds, including the Iron Orchid Design's new Angelic Tapers mold. And then I'll be going over my tips and tricks for painting each of these beautiful and distinct vintage-inspired designs. But before we begin, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new tutorials. Okay guys, let's jump right in. So I'm going to be using a rapid casting resin. This is by Couture paint, and I'm also going to be using, as I said earlier, the new Angelic Tapers mold by Iron Orchid Designs. I'm also going to be sharing with you how I use this mold to cast my own ornaments. And then later on, we're going to be going over how I redesign them with molds. So stay tuned for that as well. One thing I love is, as you can see here, these molds are conveniently marked with the amount of product it is going to take to fill each individual mold. I like to weigh out my resin, so I have put my container that I'm going to be mixing my product in onto my scale, and then I zeroed it out. So that way the weight of this cup is not going to be incorporated into the weight of this product as I go to measure it out. And I'm going to be using a plastic utensil to stir this product together. For one of these molds, I'm going to be dusting it with this antique gold metallic mica powder. And I'm just going to use a small paintbrush to do so. And what this is going to do is I'm actually coloring my resin, because as it cures, it will embed into it and it'll take on that metallic mica color. Now, you could skip this step and just paint your mold a gold color later on, but I really just like the ease of using this product when I am going for a look like this. For this ornament in particular, I'm really going for a look as if at one time it had been gold plated, but it's now aged and chipped to reveal the quote-unquote substandard metal underneath. Remember to make sure that your scale is zeroed out, and you are going to mix a 1-to-1 ratio of your resin. So you're going to mix 1 part of step 1, and then you are going to mix 1 part of step 2. And then remember to stir thoroughly for about 30 seconds before pouring into your mold. And I'm going to follow that exact same process to cast this other ornament style design. Now this mold, as I was talking about earlier, is actually the top to a jewelry box mold that I bought off of Amazon. It's this one right here, as you can see up in the left-hand corner. And I came up with this idea, and I really like it because you can make your ornament as thick or as thin as you want, and it's a great alternative to having to go out and per se buy some bauble kits, because with this reusable mold and some resin, you could cast your own ornaments every year. As you can see here, after about 10 minutes, your resin should turn white, and that means you are ready to demold. And this is what the angel ornament looked like once I had pulled it out of the mold. And as you can see, the resin has taken on that beautiful metallic mica powder sheen. The next step is totally optional, but I did cast 2 of each of these designs. That way I could glue them together, so that way I could have the same design on no matter which side of the ornament was showing. As I was talking about earlier, I really want this piece to look like it at one time had been beautifully gilded in gold. So to achieve that, I'm going to be using a little gold leaf. And I'm going to be using a top coat, and in particular, I'm going to be using a satin top coat and not a gloss, because I want to kind of tone down that high sheen that the metallic gold leaf has. You can use real gold leaf if you want, but this is just full gold leaf that I picked up off of Amazon. And I'm going to work at a section at a time. I have brushed my top coat over the entire top half on this angel, and then I am going to lay my gold leaf over top, and I'm going to lay it down and use a soft bristled brush to press it in place. I'm not going for a perfect look here. In fact, the more distressed it is, the better. I just want this piece to look like I said, I want it to look distressed, but have that gold leaf accent to it. Once I have my gold leaf all in place, I'm gonna sit and let this dry before I come back again with a soft bristled brush to brush off and remove any of this excess foil. And as you can see, especially right here, we've created this kind of duo-toned gold-plated look on this ornament, which is exactly what I was going for. And here's an up-close look for you when I was all done with that process. Next up, we're going to be adding kind of that shabby chic aesthetic to this design. And I'm going to be dry brushing and adding just a very distressed white paint over top of this design. By distressed, I mean I'm just literally dabbing the paint onto this piece. I'm not going for full coverage. I really want all the different colors to be showing through here. Here in just a minute, I'll show you why I love this design, because as you can see right here, you definitely have more of that gold gilded look, but right here in the middle, you have more of like a tarnished gold. So that is how I created the design up to this point. And next up, we are going to be adding some glaze to age this design even more. I'm going to be using amber honey. As many of you know, this is one of my favorite things to use to antique or age a freshly painted item. All I'm doing here is I have dipped an artist brush into the product, and I'm going about dabbing it onto this ornate design in different areas. And then I'm going to wipe off any excess. And as you can see, it's getting into all those little nooks and crannies and giving it a really neat aged effect, as well as bringing out even more of those ornate, beautiful details. And here's an up-close look at that shabby chic French Baroque-inspired ornament design that we created using IOD's new Angelic Tapers mold. But that's not all. Next up, I'm going to be sharing with you how I not only created, but how I painted these icicle-inspired ornament designs. I was inspired to create an ornate Victorian style ornament using the Cameo mold, again by Iron Orchid Designs. We'll also be accenting with some of these beautiful floral molds by Redesign with Prima. I'm going to be casting just the woman's head portion of this design. So I have dusted it thoroughly with cornstarch, and I am going to be using paper clay instead of regular air dry clay because it is a little bit lighter in weight. And just like I've showed you many times before, I have rolled my little piece of clay into a ball, and now I'm going about the process of just carefully pressing it into the mold. Once I'm done with that step, I'm going to turn my mold over and knead the back to easily release this mold. The detail here is just absolutely amazing. I think my favorite part are the flowers that are in her hair. This beautiful cameo is going to be the centerpiece on this ornament, and I am going to be using the petite Redesign with Prima mold to add a beautiful floral design around it. I followed the exact same process. I put cornstarch in my mold, and then I added my clay, and then I'm just using my fingers to remove any excess before slowly kneading the back and removing the design. Once I have an idea of where all my molds are going to go, I'm just going to glue them in place using Titebond Quick and Thick and wipe off any excess that may come out the sides with a wet paint brush. After about 24 hours, your clay and glue should be all dried and you are ready to start painting. I'm going to be using this beautiful metallic oyster pearl white color by Couture paint, and I'm going to paint the entirety on this cameo ornament as well as this angel icicle ornament on the side. If you're curious at all to what products I used here today in this tutorial, I will put a full list down in the description below just in case I inspire you to pick up a paintbrush and do a little creating of your very own. And I ended up putting just 2 coats of this oyster pearl color on, and these are the results so far. Now I'm going to be coming through and adding this beautiful rich blue-green metallic paint named Gemstone onto both of these ornaments. As you can see, I have a very small amount of this paint on my artist brush, and I'm going to start by very gently dabbing this paint onto the design. Now I'm going to wipe off any excess paint that I have on my paintbrush, and I am going to dry brush that paint over the rest of the area. This is going to make it look as if this green is blended into the white, when all reality it's just layered over top of it. And I'm going to follow that exact same process to paint this Cameo ornament. I'm going to start with heavy blue on the top and then end up dry brushing it over the white towards the bottom. For the next step in this process, we are going to be dry brushing these ornaments using this gold decor wax by Redesign with Prima. I'm going to be applying this product with a brush that I specifically use just for wax. This is a heavily pigmented product that is great for detail work like this. And I am just using my paintbrush and I am simply brushing it very gently over top of the molds. And as you can see, it's catching them and really adding a beautiful gold accent. For the final and last step, I used my drill bit to drill a hole through the top on each of these ornaments, and then I threaded a piece of lace through so that way I could have something to easily and beautifully hang these unique and one-of-a-kind ornaments from. And here is some up-close video as well as photos of our finished Shabby Chic French Baroque-inspired Christmas ornaments that we created using the new Angelic Taper's mold, as well as the Cameo mold by IOD and other Redesign with Prima molds, along with a little DIY creativity. I hope you enjoyed the process behind creating these beautiful designs, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you are interested in more DIY content. And again, my name is Renee. I am the owner and artist behind Chicly Reclaimed Decor, and I hope I've inspired you to pick up a paintbrush and do a little creating of your very own.